Welcome along to this week's action with Titanbet as the Premier League kicks back into gear. Arsenal against Liverpool, top of the shop. Kicking us off this weekend, then 12:45, it's the game of the weekend. Arsenal take on Liverpool. This will go an awful long way on deciding who is going to be in the top four and who isn't. Setback last week for Liverpool against Manchester United. How will they respond? Arsenal going well at the Emirates Stadium. I'm going to go for the Gooners. I reckon the Gooners 2 or 3-0.
I fancy over 2.5 goals at least in this game. 70% of Arsenal's games have had that many goals in them. But I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think Liverpool cannot afford to lose this game. They'll take anything from the Emirates Stadium. So both teams to score and a draw in the early one.
Moving on, Everton take on Southampton at 3 o'clock. Things have turned around a little bit for Everton fans. They're not now looking over their shoulders as much as they were 2 or 3 weeks ago. But out of Europe, they can only concentrate on the Premier League. It's been a disappointing season for Roberto Martinez's men, where they were expecting so much. They've never ever clicked into gear. But as the sun comes out, I reckon they're going to. Southampton still pushing for top four, but I reckon they're going to slip up. I'm going for an Everton win.
I fancy this one to be a draw as well, both teams to score. Despite the fact that Everton have improved, Southampton have got a good away record. Graziano Pella finally got a goal in the international break, didn't he, for Italy? So I fancy him to score for the Saints and for them to take a point.
Leicester take on West Ham on Saturday afternoon. Well, Leicester, it's almost last chance saloon time, isn't it? They play well, they just can't score. He doesn't commit enough men forward for me, Nigel Pearson. Just leaves one up front. They need more than that if they're going to get the goals to get them out of trouble, but they are still playing well. West Ham, to me, it looks like on the beach, towels out weather for West Ham. They think they're going to make the top 6 or 7 to get into Europe. That's not going to happen. They're too far away. They're on the beach. I'm going for a home win.
I fancy Hammers to put the final nail in the Leicester coffin, really, in this one. I don't think Leicester will be able to handle the pressure. They play well so often, don't they, but don't get the results. And I think that'll be the same case here again. West Ham to just frustrate them and to nick it 1-0.
Moving on, Manchester United take on Aston Villa at Old Trafford. United seem to have somehow be still in the top 3 or 4 in the Premier League. They've played pretty poorly all season, yet they're still up there, aren't they? They seem to have stumbled into a formula that suits them, more through luck than judgment maybe, but they've still got it. They had a good win at Anfield last time out. They're going to be good on the home run in. Possibly still thinking about maybe even a late push for the title, but they're certainly going to be good enough to beat Tim Sherwood's struggling Villa. It's a United home win by 3 or 4.
Yeah, I fancy United to comfortably win this one, probably by half-time, so I'm going for United half-time and full-time in this one. They blew Spurs out of the water last time out at home. Great home record. They'll have way too much for Villa.
Swansea against Hull. Well, the Swans under Gary Monk have done well. They're still within a realistic chance of getting a Europa League spot. Probably not going to do it this season, but mid-table will do for Swansea. I'm sure at the start of the campaign they'd be happy enough to take that. They play a Hull side who are just keeping their noses ahead of the bottom 3. They're going to fight like mad at Hull. I think they might fight hard enough to get a point. I'm going for a draw.
Yeah, Swansea have been pretty generous to the visitors to the Liberty Stadium recently, conceded at least 1 in their last 5 home games, which is good news for Hull, who tend to struggle away from home. And I think Hull might win this one, actually. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 away win to the Tigers.
That would certainly suit them. West Brom take on QPR at 3 o'clock. Queen's Park Rangers under Chris Ramsey. Everything in the garden looked rosy when they won away at Sunderland. Sadly, that was it. They've only won 1 in their last 6. They're staring down the barrel of a gun at the bottom end of the table. West Brom under Tony Pulis are very hard to beat, barring the odd hiccup here and there, so I'm going for a Baggies home win.
I fancy both teams to score in this one. QPR, despite the fact that they haven't won recently, they do score goals still, don't they? Charlie Austin is still finding the back of the net. I fancy this to be 1 apiece. West Brom not got a lot to play for anymore.
Finally on Saturday evening, Chelsea take on Stoke at 5:30. Chelsea running amok in the Premier League. They'll win this one with ease, I reckon, against Mark Hughes' side. Stoke possibly on the beach as well, although Hughes, who's signed a new contract of late, won't let them rest on their laurels, but Chelsea will have too much for them. It may not be pretty, it often isn't under Jose Mourinho, but Chelsea will have enough. and go on to win this one.
Yeah, Stoke have upset some big sides away from home this season, winning at Tottenham and Manchester City, but I think this will be too much for them. Stamford Bridge, as you said, is a fortress for Chelsea, and I think Eden Hazard to get at least one is the bet for me, and Chelsea to win.
Moving on to Sunday then, Burnley take on Spurs. Burnley fighting like mad, good at home in the northwest. It's not an easy place to go to, but high-flying Tottenham, the team of the year, are they? Under Mauricio Pochettino, certainly since Christmas, they've been entertaining week in, week out. They got off to great starts. Harry Kane, who wouldn't be in his shoes right now, starting for England, going really well. I'm going for a Spurs win, 3-1.
I think goals is the one to go for in this one. Over 4.5 goals, as you say. Spurs score lots of goals, but they concede lots as well. Conceded 3 against Leicester last time out. Shows you that they have got problems at the back, despite the fact they score a lot of goals. They will probably just edge this one, but goals is the bet.
4 o'clock, it's the Wear Tyne derby, not for the faint-hearted. Sunderland against Newcastle. What a big game this is. Sunderland have the upper hand in these clashes. I think they've won the last 4. An unbelievable stat when they've been struggling in every one of those games going into it, but they always come up trumps against their rivals Newcastle. This time I think things may be different. Sunderland at home have been absolutely woeful all season. They're in a big dogfight at the wrong end of the table, and Newcastle would delight in keeping them down there. I'm going to go for a rare away win for Newcastle.
I can't see it. I have to go with Sunderland. They just need to win, don't they? And as you say, they've got a great record over Newcastle recently. I think the bet is probably draw half time and Sunderland to win it late on. There's been loads of late goals in these meetings recently, and it's surely going to be Dick Advocaat's first win, and a massive win for Sunderland.
Might be an idea to get on the cards in that game. There's so much on it, it could well be red cards and yellow cards all over the place. Finally on Monday, Crystal Palace take on Manchester City. Palace have got very little to play for, but under Alan Pardew, they're absolutely flying high. They're mid-table now. Who would have thought that a few months ago before he took over? Absolutely enjoying themselves. It's a hostile atmosphere. City, last chance saloon, they've got to win. I don't think they're going to. I think this is going to be the last nail in their title challenge coffin. I'm going for a Palace close but home win, 1-0.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I fancy City to win this one. They went to Selhurst Park needing to win last season, and they did just that when Palace were looking pretty strong. And I fancy them just to edge it 1-0 this time out and just keep those slim title hopes alive.
Well, it'll certainly be one that all the fans are watching. Don't forget you can enter our Ultimate Fan competition on www.titanbet.co.uk/UF for your opportunity to win tickets to the 3 big major finals in Berlin, Warsaw and London this summer. And we'll be back next week with a look at that Premier League action.